What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of Indie Insights, where we play indie games with one of the developers of that game. For this episode, we will be playing Grimmlins Tale, created by Patrick of Big Rat Games. I, myself, am also Patrick, with my co-host today, Tyler. Playing the game today on the 6 will be Erika. What is going on,
Howdy.
everybody?
Hi.
How's everyone doing?
Oh, I'm so excited.
Howdy, everybody.
Patrick, thank you so much for joining us today. Please, we are so excited to dive into this game. Please give us a basic rundown of what we have in front of us.
So, Grimmlins Tale, the elevator pitch is that it's an action-adventure monster taming RPG where all the monsters are fairy tales. So it's got some of that Pokemon juice in it, but every single monster has a fairy tale inspiration. So we're looking at like 3 right now on the screen. These are our starters, just like you'd have in Pokemon. So these are like the types of inspirations that'll be in the game, the sort of side mechanics, but the overall gameplay is a lot different, and we'll see that. But
All right,
I'm going for this dapper gentleman.
give me a hand on that one on the far left. Who's that? Who's that inspired by?
So the one she just chose, Beast Tame, is he's
Beauty
a
and the
dapper
Beast?
gentleman. Beauty and the Beast, yes.
Oh,
You got it. Yeah, so, I
hey.
mean, if people can recognize it, that means they did a good job, right?
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah,
And then
that's exactly
the
what
middle
he is.
one, Humpty
was an-
Dumpty.
Yeah, his name is Dare Dumpty. He's like a daredevil who hovers on like a brick and hurts himself. And then the one all the way on the side was a gingerbread man, superhero, wannabe superhero kid named Ginger Kid. So we chose
Oh, I
Beast
love
Tame.
that.
Yeah. The trio is the typings are different. So like normally you'd have fire, grass, water in Pokemon. This one I went for like a brain, brawn, and beauty trio. So we have mental, might, and charm. And they interact similarly where one beats the other.
Gotcha.
I love that.
How many types do you have in this game?
There are 14 types in Grimmlins Tale. A lot of them have Pokemon
Gotcha.
analogs. So like if you knew the Pokemon types, you'd probably know most of them because there's similarities. There's like 1 or 2 that don't really have a Pokemon analog, but should be mostly recognizable for people.
Are you comfortable sharing what
Gotcha.
those are for us at this time?
Yeah, so you have fire, you have water and ice, you have like a bunch of electric. A bunch of the like standard elemental ones are kind of the same, but some of the different ones, there's arcane, which is just kind of magic, more like fantasy generic magic, weird stuff that doesn't fit into elemental magic, like time and force pushing and whatever, all those sorts of things. The blight is my sort of poison analog, but it also has diseases, pollution, and and pests is a big thing with blight. And then charm was one of the starter types. That's sort of fairy analog, but it's definitely a bit different, where like I have these suave characters, or like the frog prince one turns into like a smoochy king guy, and he's charm type. So
Well, can't wait to see. What do we got going on in front of us here in our intro? It looks like you got to choose your starter.
Yeah.
And who are we speaking to here? Who's Frampton?
So Frampton is the scarf we're wearing around our neck, and we're our name is Leaf. Frampton is the scarf. The scarf is kind of a bastard. It's kind of like a Banjo-Kazooie relationship, where the scarf kind of hates Leaf and shits on him all the time. And they just kind of met Beast Tame, and they explained some of the stuff about the world. The main character has amnesia and stuff. Your typical thing.
Yes.
Would be good to save, just to be safe, usually, as often as you can.
Excellent.
Yeah, but I honestly forget what they said exactly in the dialogue.
No, that's okay.
besides, like,
That's okay.
Some introductory stuff.
Yeah, the paraphrase is
Humans
perfect.
are rare.
Yeah. Oh yeah. There's no humans, or not no humans, but there's very few humans in the world, and gremlins are sort of manifestations of storybooks that are kind of echoed in this world from our world.
Gotcha. Pat, what are these purple drops?
Yeah, it's ink.
That Erika's running around picking up.
It's ink, and it's
Ink. Okay.
Yeah, it's like currency in the game. Right now, there's a very small shop at a specific spot in the game, but there'll be more later. And yeah, it's just like a nice thing to walk around and grab and collect and
The
stuff.
sound. Pew.
Yeah, little plop.
I thought Discord was going off.
So, yeah.
I got confused for a second.
So yeah, these tutorials will pop up. I had to make them pretty quickly because tutorialization is expensive and hard. But yeah, we'll try to remember what they say in here. I understand if you forget some stuff. I'll remind you.
Thank you.
Got you.
Yeah.
Middle click
Oh,
to
man.
target.
I recall in the Kickstarter trailer seeing quite a bit of like platforming that you'll need to do, and it seems like
Yeah.
you get to really kind of navigate through, you know, a more open world. Collecting is going to be a big aspect.
Yeah,
for
sure.
Yeah, and these currencies are going to be in hard to reach places, and
Yeah, and we'll definitely see
final
more of
punch
that.
him.
Right now, this is kind of how the fighting works. There's open world fighting against the regular Grimmlins that'll spawn, and then these are the trainer battles where we have like the thorns around us, and you're in a sort of XVX. This guy has no Grimmlins because it's like the first one, but normally he'll have Grimmlins on his team.
So
and
it's
he
like
also
it's
doesn't
like an
even hit.
all-out brawl.
Yeah, it's
kinda.
crazy. It's very chaotic.
Gotcha.
But
Right.
this one is a freebie, and when you win, you get a golden book. And so these golden books are part of the collectibles you were talking about, Patrick.
Mhm.
They're like the bigger one. The ink is like, you know, it's their currency, and then the golden books are more like our golden stars in, I don't know, Mario 64 or whatever.
Uh-oh.
You just move a little bit. There you go. It plopped you on top of him.
I love that.
Yeah. So we won. That was a freebie. Normally they're gonna do a lot more. But yeah, so what you did was you like middle clicked the target, right? That's how you
Yes.
got your guy. And so once you do that, he'll just go at him and start auto attacking them. But you can also, and so like you just selected him, right? I think, did you do the scroll wheel?
I don't think I did.
Oh, okay. Well, if you click him or if you do the scroll wheel, it'll select. And then you can like make a single gremlin do something. Instead of the middle click says all gremlins attack this. The left click will be like, I select you and then I select an enemy. You go after that enemy, kind of thing,
Okay.
if that makes sense.
Oh, please look.
So, Pat, I'm assuming that gets like kind of chaotic when you have like, wow, what is it, like 5v5?
Yeah, that's the max.
Right. So
there's
it's
only
my
one of
it's my
those.
understanding you have like a system to like freeze in the middle of like fighting or
Yes.
something.
Yeah, and there will be a
Gotcha.
little tutorial for that later, but it'll put everything
Okay.
to slow motion. Oh, another thing I'll just remind you, it told you in that first tutorial, you got it. F is how to punch in case you need to punch. You want to hurt these little gremlins.
She's
Yeah.
got the taste. She's got the taste for violence. She's never gonna forget how to punch now.
She's just supposed to teach her sweet beast tame to punch
Yeah,
instead.
I don't want to do it, but I have to for the demo.
Yeah, that's okay. Okay,
You'll
so
have
if you
one on
want,
your team
if
later,
you
I'm
want to
sure.
catch her, you can click towards her feet, sort of, while she's knocked out. There you go.
Oh yay!
See, look at that.
Boom. Very high catch rate.
Oh. I
So
will
I'm
name
glad it
her.
worked out. You can name her.
We'll leave it with Flair since it's her.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hi, you're so cute.
Yeah. This one is partially based on a weird, obscure fairy tale, but also it's half Rapunzel. And when it evolves, the fire hair goes all over the place. I've revealed the evolution online, but it's not in the demo yet.
Gotcha. What is the
Long range.
obscure fairy tale you base it off of otherwise?
It's called it sounds really Christian. It's not. It's called The Virgin Mary's Child. It's a Grimm's fairy tale. I was going through Grimm's fairy tales for some. I want a few that are. I want to definitely do all the ones that you'd think of when you think of like fairy tales as all your
Right.
characters. But I want a few that'll make you be like, oh, cool. Like I didn't know about that. And so this one's called The Virgin Mary's Child. The reason she has fire hair is because like towards the end, this girl gets like almost burned at the stake. Which is dark. All the fairy tales are dark. I can't avoid it. But yeah, it's more. It has more going on than that. I guess she gets her finger marked. So this one has like one of her fingers is on fire, and she loses. She can't speak in the fairy tale, so she has no mouth. Her hair grows wild. That kind of connected to the Rapunzel thing for me. So yeah,
Gotcha.
it's a lot easier. I feel like just to see the evolution to understand it, I guess.
I like
Because
how you've put so much thought into the little details of these designs. That
oh yeah, I'm very much like a conceptual designer, where like I lean on the concept being deep rather than trying to for sure. I mean, I try to make everything look good too, but a lot of games will do just and Pokemon doesn't mix, but just elemental animals and stuff. If it looks cool, it works. If it looks cute, it works, and
yeah,
that's fair and valid. And a
definitely.
lot of people like that. It's actually very popular. But I try to make my stuff usually as sort of as many complex associations as I can to like look into and stuff like that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Oh no.
So this one's important. Yeah, you have your abilities on Q and E. It basically tells you if you
do
hold.
it too quickly, they can attack.
Well, so if you click Q really fast and release it, they'll auto aim their attacks, and if you hold it, you can aim it yourself. If you hold Q or E.
Okay.
And then this was the thing. Tyler, was it? Is that your, sorry?
Yes,
Forget it.
yeah, I'm Tyler.
This is the thing Tyler's mentioning that helps with the chaos. Is this focus mode puts you in slow mo when you hit space during battles.
Okay.
Okay.
It's got some other complexities because there's a stamina sort of circle in battle, and when that depletes, you go slower, and that replenishes when you stand still. And it does some stuff where you don't replenish it during focus mode while you're in slow mo. So there's a slight cost to being in the slow mo mode, but it's very minor, so that people.
And when you're in that slow-mo mode, does it burn the stamina as well, or no?
No,
It just
it
doesn't
does not.
regen.
Yeah, it just doesn't regen. So
Gotcha.
if you're running anyway, then it's no cost. Yeah. So this is still going to be hopefully an easy one. It's going to be a 1v2. You'll have 2, he has 1. So this is our
Click the
slow-mo.
just to see what was gonna happen.
Yeah, so you can kind of, your guys don't have any ranged cooldowns, but it would be like good to shoot right now. But you can
So I'm
choose your
trying to
targets
get
and
it.
stuff.
So
And you can,
this is where you'd want to be using your QEs.
yeah, like you
essentially.
definitely want to do it. Like it's really good at the beginning of the fight. You slow mo, you aim them, you shoot them down, you unslow mo, until you can use them again and stuff. And just I want
Gotcha.
players to go in between the two. That's kind of my desired play pattern.
Yeah, it seems like there's a lot of complexity to the fighting style here.
Definitely, it's
Yeah.
Being an ex-
and it's the thing. It's very hard to bounce, but I want it to have a low enough skill floor where you could probably get away with middle clicking the enemy and just like letting them kill him and not dying yourself.
Right.
For the for at least like a handful of the battles, so that my casual players don't get too frustrated or anything like that. And then I want it to be deeper. Maybe have some hard battles that are more optional, where we really use this full complexity elsewhere in the game.
Gotcha.
Always explore, children.
Yeah, yeah, you get rewarded for exploring
Oh,
and for climbing upside down.
Spider-Man.
Obviously, we had a quick chance to chat before we went live, but Patrick, tell us about the size of your team at Big Rat Games, please. Tell us more about what you're working with.
So, I am a solo developer.
Whoa!
Whoa! Oh, you're going backwards. But yeah, solo developer. Been doing this for almost 2 years. I have had random help. And I do commission I have these really nice 2D portrait arts that you saw in the dialogue. Those ones I don't make myself. I've been paying some people to make those, some really talented artists. And then I had a little bit of help from some friends at the very beginning of development for a couple months. But it's been solo since then. So mostly solo.
And I'm sorry, did you say that you have been working on this for 2 years, or you've been in game development for 2 years?
I've been
have
in
you
game
worked on anything
development
previously?
Yeah, I've been in game development for longer. this specifically has been for about 2 years. I made a game that's called Flicker of Hope, formerly known as, it used to be called Wick. It's now called Flicker of Hope, and it's on Steam. It did really well. It was a student-made game. I was in my master's program when we made it, with a small team, and it was about 20 people. It got over 100,000 downloads on Steam, so it did really well for like a student game. And I've been making games for like 6 to 8 years or whatever, but just less, I guess, professionally. Yeah.
Where did you go to school for that?
The program I went to is called FIA, FIEA. It's like Florida International Entertainment Academy. It's ranked number 1 in the U.S. According to
FIA.
Princeton Review. But yeah, obviously the hearts of the Fians too, sure. But yeah, that's where I went to. That's where I got my master's, and then before that, I got like a computer science degree at UF.
Fantastic.
Got you. I would like to take this time to interject really quick and let anybody watching know that Patrick has a Kickstarter where he has been funded over his goal already. His goal is $30,000, and right now he's got $36,000. So congratulations to you, Patrick.
Thank you.
But at the same time, he's got some really cool stretch goals on there.
Yeah.
If you're like a monster tamer person, he's got Nuzlocke stuff on there. He's got more gremlins that he'll put in the game on his stretch goals.
Yeah, I'm going to be revealing a new one tomorrow as well. Just because we just hit one today, or the Nuzlocke one we hit today. So yeah, and things have been growing. I just got featured by like a pretty big YouTuber today as well. So things are kicking off. It's got one more week.
Really. That's
Okay. Yeah, for the people at home, what's that end date?
One week left.
June 3rd, like in the
June
morning.
3rd.
June 3rd is the end of it. So yeah.
Friday, June 3rd. All right.
Oh.
Wait, let me double check.
Okay.
Yes, I think it's Friday, June 3rd. Yeah.
Okay.
It's the same day as the boys.
So I
season 3
implore
that comes
everyone
out,
to
so
take a look.
prioritize this.
You both should repeat that.
I implore everyone to take a look because Patrick's doing some really, really cool stuff, and you'd be making his life as a developer a lot easier.
Yes, you would.
Anything helps. So.
Right now, the funds I'm getting for Kickstarter are still kind of they're for these necessary things I have to pay for. They're still not going towards paying me anything, and unless I make a lot, unless I have this big goal that it's very far, but who knows? But if I don't make that, the timeline might have to shift, and I might have to find money elsewhere, and the game will take longer to make. But yeah, it's all going towards necessary things for now.
If this is too personal, we can go right on by it here. But like being a game developer and putting the amount of time into this, how do you afford to keep a roof above your head? Like, what else are you doing?
It's been savings and support from
Sure.
people that is ending very soon.
Sure.
Very reasonably. And, that school I went to, I have my loans to pay very, very soon as well. So it's what I'm going to do. It's complicated, right? So at this point, I could either end up maybe with a publisher who helps fund me or something like that, an investor, which I almost had at certain points, or I can do the split life where you spend 40 hours a week at some job and then up to 40 hours a week on this game, which is very hard, obviously. And I'm just I'm obviously just worried about. I'll do it if I have to, but I am worried about. That is the plan. I'm just worried that that kind of grind can grind your game into non-existing. Not that it will. I won't let that happen. I'm not saying that will happen. I'm just saying it's a very concerning thing, and that's why I'd love to go beyond and be able to pay myself something for my own work. It's already been 2 years at this point.
And that's the reality of game development, obviously, and that's why we're happy to try to do our little part and spotlight you too and have you
For
on.
sure.
And so
it's a
happy you're
harsh
here.
reality. It's
Yeah.
very hard. Because it's already, making a game is like one of the more complex things you can do already. But then you have to market it. It has to sell. The financial part is extremely crazy. But we do it because we love it. So
That's right.
But so we did end up going through some tutorials really fast earlier. I feel like I should help remind you of some of the things.
Yeah, go ahead.
So
I'm trying very hard.
oh no, you're like doing fine. I just want to make sure you like know the tools you have and stuff like that.
I'm trying
So
to use the Q and E.
yeah, so your E on flare is a ranged attack and your Q is physical attack. So like the Q won't work unless she's close and she's like ranged. She's set to be ranged by default. But
There he is.
there's a bunch of stuff. So in the other room, we went over like a platforming tutorial really quickly, and it told you can dodge roll with shift.
Yes.
And is it hard for you to reach? Are you not a PC
notorious-
gamer?
No, I'm notorious for like never using dodge when I
Okay,
play.
that's
so that's
fine.
just on me. As the
no, that's
as
cool.
a-
You don't have to dodge. Like it's a lot to like we were describing before. It's chaotic. It's a lot, and the
Love it.
controls. There's a lot of buttons to remember. But I just wanted to make sure you knew that there's like a long jump if you like roll, and then when you land, you jump. You can like jump higher and further, kind of. You can probably get it by just like mashing jump after you roll, and it'll work out. But yeah, so like you get a further jump that way.
Oh,
And
there
if
it
you
is.
combine that with like climbing, and you can roll after you jump or before you jump, whatever. You can kind of string them together, and if you're really good at it, you can do some crazy stuff. But those are sort of the tools at your disposal. Plus the climbing, it'll just happen if you jump and there's a surface near you.
Yes, learned that by accident.
Your movement is very
Yeah,
Breath
definitely
of the Wild.
inspired by it.
Yes.
For the climbing especially. And I still don't have this yet, but at some point I think I'd like to get something more like the jumping part of the climbing, where like you can actually kind of speed it
Gotcha.
up.
Like burn
Yeah,
some
at the cost of
stamina
stamina, go a
to
little
boost
faster and
yourself.
stuff.
Yeah,
Stuff like that definitely will get implemented eventually.
gotcha.
Oh,
I was gonna say I was thinking of it the entire time, even like the little health bars and everything.
oh yeah.
Give me like a big Breath of the Wild.
Yeah, so there's
feel.
definitely a little bit of Breath of the
So-
Wild in there. I kind of wanted to go because open world,
Yeah.
like true open world, is crazy. So I wanted to go
Yeah,
sort of halfway, more like Mario Odyssey is or something, collectathon, but get that Breath of the Wild climbing in there because it just feels good as like a player ability. I feel like just kind of I really enjoyed it in Breath of the Wild. And so you opened the menu earlier, Erika,
Yes.
which is good. So can you go out of the menu real quick?
Yeah.
And can we let our gremlins out? So like, do you see at the bottom right? There's like, yeah, the numbers. There you go. So now that they're out, this is like a small bug thing, but you need to have them out to see them in the UI. Hit
Oh.
pause and click on the green tab. That's our My Gremlins tab. And we can click Beast Tamer Flare. And so we can see all their stuff. They've got all these stats, and you're hovering over a few important menus as well on this like purple bookmark. The
Ooh.
middle one there is like where our cooldowns go. So like when we learn new cooldowns, they're in that list at the bottom.
Okay.
So we just auto learned the first two. That's quick jab on the left and conviction on the right. But those other ones might be better, and we could learn them instead by kind of clicking and clicking learn.
Okay, so whereas in like Pokemon you have like the 4 move pool.
Yeah,
here you
because
have the
there's a lot-
2,
Yeah, there's a
and you
lot of
actively use them.
gremlins. It can be out at once. So 4 was just like, honestly, I just didn't have.
Right.
I didn't even have the buttons for it.
Too
Yeah,
much.
it was way too much. Even 2, it's a
Yeah.
lot, obviously.
Yeah, because you have to. I'm assuming when you get to like the 5,
Yeah,
scrolling
it's-
through them, trying to
Takes a
use
long
all their
time
stuff in a
to
fight.
be able
it gets,
to do it well, I guess. And it's one of the sells of
Right.
Pokemon is how easy it is to pick up. Right, anyone can play Pokemon. You just have to like. You don't even really have to know the type chart. You can get by. It's a pretty easy game, at least the PvE.
Yeah. Just
Yeah,
smashing your
it'll
head
work
against the
out.
wall if
And
you
it'll tell
really,
you
if
you're
you
not
really
very
want to.
effective or whatever. But all you really have to do is click some UI. So, you know, I'm trying. I am doing everything I can to keep this crazy system as digestible for anyone as I can.
Gotcha. But you do have, from my understanding, you have like a lot of stat
Yeah.
stuff behind the scenes, right? So like similar to how, you know, Pokemon, like you said, you can just kind of jump
There's
into it,
depth
right?
to
There's also like a lot behind the
Yeah,
scenes.
for sure.
Yeah. You have a lot of depth. in
The
Grimmlins
aim is
Tale, right?
definitely that high skill floor and high skill ceiling. So like the people who are really into it, they can just get into it and play for hours and learn stuff. But
Right.
hopefully people who aren't super hardcore can get away with mostly middle clicking the enemy trainer and still being able to kind of get by.
So you're saying I can
fine.
still play it like I play
Definitely.
Pokemon, where I only have offensive moves, whatever does the most damage. I just
Definitely.
Yeah,
That's
cool.
Definitely.
honestly how I
Yeah.
play too.
Yeah, I definitely used to do that as well when I was like I'm all about that. And so like right now, honestly, most of the cooldowns are like that anyway. Just because things are simple, it's still early days. Didn't want to do anything too crazy yet.
Gotcha.
But
But there
you
are
could
some cooldowns that are like do other things. They aren't just raw damage.
definitely there's some healing ones. There's like some of
Okay.
the water ones have like a bubble that they'll put on you that prevents all damage while it's there, sort of like a
Ooh.
Zarya bubble in Overwatch.
Okay.
And there's different versions of that. There's like an earth wall cooldown that puts up a wall in the way of stuff, so you can kind of affect the positioning. She is not modeled for this demo.
I
That's
love
what Erika's
that.
laughing at. Linda. I'm glad you jumped in the circle for this dialogue because you can die during the dialogue.
That's what I was scared of, because I was like, all these people around. I'm like, if I'm in here, will they still get me?
Yeah, that's something I have to fix. I've had so many people be like, "Yo, why'd you let me die during this dialogue?"
What
That's
happens?
terrible.
What would have happened if Erika died during the dialogue?
She would just slowly die. I mean, she would respawn. It's fine, but you know, no one likes to die, so it's
Yeah.
not the best. I really should not have designed such an important dialogue around a bunch of enemies, but I'll figure something out for it.
Is the way that you have it planned is dying? What are the repercussions for that? Is it just starting back over at the checkpoint? Anything
Yeah.
else happen?
No.
I'm fine with that. No, hey, that's great. That's great.
Yeah, you go to the checkpoint. If you were in a trainer battle, you lost that battle, but no other repercussions. I am a fan of Dark Souls, but
Yeah. Not every game is Dark Souls.
Yeah, I don't think my target audience would appreciate this being Dark Souls. Probably.
Well, you mentioned Blight and Arcane, and I couldn't help but think like you must play or be a fan of those games too.
Definitely. And I mean, like, there's some dark stuff in the game because the fairy tales, like I said before, they are actually dark. So I kind of wanted to juxtapose some cute and
I'll show you what it looks like when I die.
Yeah, you just kind of like.
No, I don't want to know.
Respawn.
This is a no death run.
Is it no death run?
Yeah, and no damage taken.
No, okay, reset.
Wow, there you go. That's the end of the run.
Sorry.
Right there.
All right, we're transitioning to the big open space.
Oh, I can't wait.
Oh, it's pretty.
Ooh, I like the music change
Yeah,
up.
we'll be listening to this music for a long time now. So this explains that you can ride on gremlins. That's one of the big features of the game. We can't ride on any of our gremlins; they're too small.
You can't ride on that candle.
That would be abuse. I can't let you.
Also burn your butt.
Yeah, that too. Double abuse. We can. That guy right there, that's in the middle. We can't catch him because he's a dialogue guy. But if we can get that one, yeah, that one's rideable. There's an ugly duckling one that its evolution is rideable.
What are you planning to build any sort of like, you know, like in a Pokemon game you can add like the Sunstone and that'll evolve them, or like any kind of other evolutionary Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We'll see that there's so for my 3 little pigs, there's they all drive a mech out of the material, and we'll see one somewhere in this demo at some point. But they're sort of like Eevee, where the first evolution is like a split into whichever material pig you wanted to evolve into, and they'll probably I haven't decided how, but it'll be varied. Yeah, it won't just be level up and stuff. So there'll be some stuff like that for sure.
Gotcha.
Sure, nighttime.
I saw the design. I believe for the brick
Evolve.
one.
Evolve.
Yeah, Boarbrick
Like
was it the big
the
T-Rex?
brick 3 little pig is.
It's a big
Yeah,
T-Rex mech. Yeah.
That's a cool one. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, I want
Yeah.
actually for those, since they're all mech based, I did like a different mech for each. So like that one is sort of Mechagodzilla kaiju robot inspired, sort of Zoid bots and stuff like that too.
I love the fourth wall breaking text.
Oh yeah, because he's in the middle of all the enemy
Yeah.
Froggled, so he's just like, hey man, why'd you click on me to attack me?
Well,
I intended for this one to be super annoying, but you're like safe, unfortunately. You
well, I don't know. That
plants.
duck is coming up to me.
Oh yeah, you're not so safe anymore.
Wait, you're getting attacked right now. Am I distracting you? This is karma.
He's a cheeky little guy,
I love him. He's my favorite.
and he won't stop talking. He's just Mr. Rossetti, from Animal Crossing. I don't know if you guys remember old Mr. Rossetti and the way he just like would not stop.
That's hilarious.
No, he made you feel like a terrible person.
Definitely. Yeah, that's what I want to do to my players when they click on this Froggle.
Oops.
To kind of dial back to more of like the world building aspect of the like, what did you feel like you had to? How much time did you spend researching fairy tales? Did you have did you grow up with a lot of them? Like, what made you choose this?
It's funny, like I'm not like the fairy tale guy or anything.
Sure.
So I had this game prototyped early on without any cohesive monster thing. There were a bunch of like fantasy asset pack creatures I had initially. There's like an orc and a skeleton man and shit like that. But I was like, you know what? Like constraints breed creativity. I want something to kind of bring all my monsters together as I designed them. And I play Magic the Gathering. There was a set a couple of years ago where all the cards had fairy tale origins. So you had like Little Mermaid and Beauty and the Beast and stuff like that, just referenced the cards. I thought it was really cool. And I was like, I'm gonna take a page out of that book. And yeah, I made them all fairy tale inspired. And I guess the way the creative process for me, the way it goes is like I learned to design for creativity through associations. So like a good design will just have things associated with it that people see and automatically makes sense to them, right? So like this one, for example, is the grandma from the grandma and the wolf dressed as a grandma in Little Red Riding Hood. And so I was like, okay, what are some things about that character? Well, he sort of traps and lures Little Red Riding Hood. So I was like, okay, let's go with like an angler fishy type thing. The top will be the bait. It's like pretending to be a grandma. The bottom will be like a horrible monster. If this thing was sitting in a bed, the blanket would be like covering the horrible part of it or whatever, right? And so this one doesn't have a ton of associations, but I guess I usually go with that as like my my reason to make every monster I want to make. Is just try to connect as many associations as creatively as I can. Ooh, we're in the wall. It's gonna bring us in the library. That's okay. And then sort of go from there and make sure it looks cool at that point, or cute, or creepy, whatever my appeal is at that point.
I
So,
love the anglerfish aspect. Do you?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, we haven't really gotten a chance to deep dive, or if it exists, like a glossary or like a bestiary or anything like that. Do you plan to build anything like that might reference? Like, I'm sure you can't literally say if it's from like a property, like a.
Oh, I can.
Okay.
Because they're open source. Yeah, public domain.
It's in the public domain, right?
And like I think the rule is it's something like 70 years after the last author died or something like that.
Yeah.
Or maybe made it. I forget. But these are like well beyond that, so I'm safe with them. I always check with that because it's important. I cannot make a Shrek gremlin because of this, and even though I've been demanded to make a Shrek gremlin by many people,
It's an ogre.
I know this one evolves into a green ogre. To be fair,
Yeah.
so you
Big
know,
Bubba.
I might make one of them have like a Scottish accent and be like, "There's you,
Yes.
Shrek." But I'm not going to directly reference it. No way. But about the bestiary thing, I have been asked about that a lot as well. I don't have one good spot for it, except like in my Discord, I do keep all the revealed gremlins in a specific channel where you can scroll through them. So I don't know. Maybe we could scroll through that later on Erika's stream if we want or something, just to like, if you guys think the designs are cool. I think usually my audience sort of comes forth because of the design. That's like where they come from usually. They like
The aesthetic.
the
Yeah.
design direction of the monsters, so that could be fun, I think. But should definitely let her play first.
And I apologize, I'm not sure why I'm lagging.
I
But
are
the
you?
game is fine.
Game is fine.
Oh.
Your camera's a little
Oh, I see that.
laggy, but
Times.
it's just a tad.
Yeah, it's all right.
Close a few things,
Yeah, I
so it
think
should be a
you're
bit
good.
better.
so I noticed that our starter.
So, Patrick,
You go ahead, Tyler.
Patrick, I was just sorry. Patrick, I was just curious because you were talking about the ride gremlins earlier,
Yeah.
right? Would you? I'm curious because you've been working on this game for 2 years now. So Pokemon Legends Arceus is a newer release where they have something very similar. Has that in any way influenced where you want to go with that? Has that influenced how you're building that feature? I'm just kind of curious.
Yeah,
where you're
yeah.
going
I
with that a
did.
little
I played the game, and I was like, oh, I can use the way you fly on Braviary specifically. I was like, oh, I should probably have something kind of like this. I want multiple different ways to fly on different gremlins. So I sort of pocketed that as like, I don't know, maybe something's vaguely inspired by this I could do in the future. But since you said, yeah, it's been 2 years or whatever, like way before Legend Arceus was announced or anything like that, I had my ride feature, and I don't like, it's cool and all in Legends Arceus, I guess, but I like the idea that like you could ride your gremlins and any one of your gremlins, kind of, right? Like all the evolved ones are
Right.
going to be rideable, and they're going to feel like they're yours, and they're going to have unique ways to ride, and that's going to be extremely difficult for me to implement. It's going to take a ton of time, but it's going to be a really cool feature versus like in Legends Arceus, there's like 5 set Pokemon you ride,
Exactly.
and they have like one ability. So we're talking 30 against 5 abilities, and hopefully that can be like a really cool draw to the game. It definitely helps make my trailers look really flashy. So it's been my best friend for that. This guy's rideable. That if we do manage to catch it.
Remind me. So I
Hurry,
there you
get
go.
catch
That
it and
big.
then ride it.
He's got a sort of low catch rate, so oh no, it didn't work. he got
Rude,
he got 3.
honestly.
But you can try again if you have more balls, more Big Bubbas that you stole.
So if Erika runs out of not Pokeballs,
capture orbs.
capture
Yeah.
balls, right? Capture orbs. Where would she go to
So
get
that's
more
what
of
our
those?
currency's for. We can. There's a bit of
Okay.
there's like the loop in the demo right now is that there's a finite amount of ones to collect, but then there's when you beat like you can re-battle the trainers, and if you rematch you'll get some ink, and you can spend the ink directly to get more capture orbs. If we ever need that, I'll just direct her to where that's located and everything.
Sounds good.
Yeah. I think, Patrick, you were going to ask something before.
Yeah, it kind of split off into a 2-part question for me too, because I'm one curious that like I noticed that the starter tail gremlin evolved pretty quickly, And I'm curious if that's for the purpose of the demo, or if that's something that maybe takes a little bit longer in the full release. And it just like it made me think like how overwhelming this type of game must be as a solo developer, because like how do you balance evolution? How do you balance, like I don't know,
when
like
should they evolve? What should their stats be like at different levels? And it's super hard, especially because with the platforming element, like the amount of speed you have is variable with that monster's speed stat. So like I have to test stuff at level 25 and level 50 and level 1, and I would jump a different distance for each of those. So yeah, it's crazy. It's very hard to test. And about the whole what level he's evolving at. Yeah, it's super brought down because of the demo. I just kind of want people to be able to every evolution level is way down right now, just because it's a maybe 2-hour experience or whatever instead of a 20+ one or whatever in the future. So yeah, that's all temporary. Everything that's like balance based is super temporary. I haven't gotten to do a ton of balancing, just kind of making stuff.
I think there's a good segue question here that we have. Just like, besides obviously being a solo developer, like none of this is easy, but like what would you say are some of the major challenges that you face at this point?
I guess one of the hardest things for me is just it's hard to the level of polish that's expected, and no one kind of knows. Only your biggest fan know that you're a solo developer. They literally are just like, they assume you have Pokemon's 100-something employees, and you might be doing some stuff better. Like you might have 30 ride abilities compared to Pokemon's 5, but even then, if they only play with 5, they don't even know. So it's really hard to have your situation understood, and that's difficult. But also, I don't know, the grind of it is also just harder when you're alone, right? Because you wake up and I'm doing the same things every day, and I gotta bother my friends with all my game dev problems and stuff like that, lean on them. And so it's all hard, obviously. It's rewarding, I love it, but it's hard.
What's something that you enjoy the most about it then?
If I'm doing the part of game development I like, then I'll just love doing it. It's just that I have to do a lot of things that are not my style, I guess, or my just skill set. Like I was a programmer first, and I was really a designer first, but then a programmer, and last a 3D artist. And so there's certain parts of the 3D art pipeline I hate making levels and level art. Like I love the characters. This game is all about characters and like their personality, right? Like there's going to be like 60 to 100 monsters. That's kind of the heart of it. But those still need a level, but it's really taxing for me personally because my heart's in the monsters and stuff like that. So making the art for them,
creating
time flies by way more, but when motivation is like such a tangible resource you need because you're making something huge over a long time alone, it's just all the harder to do those things you wouldn't naturally do, and you don't feel like you're maybe super good at necessarily or something, it's hard.
I can see how like making the assets and designing all of your gremlins, but then having to put them somewhere in the world is a whole different ballgame.
Put them in the world, make them work, give them their abilities, like do their animations, rig them so they can have animations. Just like it goes on and on and on. The amount of stuff I need to do. I haven't done the balancing part that you're like talking about because that's going to come in a year and a half or something. Because I quite literally have like a year of art to make or something on the docket. Depending on how many gremlins I have to make. And that's where the Kickstarter funds can help, right? That art is an easy thing to sort of commission out. I do like doing the gremlin art though, like even the 3D art, just as long as they're not too crazy. I'm a little scared of some of my own designs. Just making them look good in 3D might be difficult. So this is gonna be we might not win this one. We'll see. Yeah, you're 4v5.
I think I've made a terrible error.
And you're under-leveled.
Erika,
so
those
Yeah,
are looking like
lose
for
some
sure.
we might lose our
big
no-death
guys.
run.
is that a slug in a
Those
boot?
are big guys. Yeah, that one is based on the old lady in the shoe.
Oh,
Yeah, and they're all just, it's a bunch of slugs sort of bunkering down together, and like they all kind of, they're like very wholesome where they kind of have their own space. They fit well. Oh, I think oh no, he healed. I think he got low for a second, but his gremlage healed him. And your poison. So yeah, this is the only 5v5, and it's crazy, obviously.
What a fun example, though. I see what you mean. And immediately everything. I mean, this is when you got to slow things down. Use your cooldowns, Erika.
Yeah, the slow-mo
I'm
helps.
working on it.
But even if she was in slow, it was gonna be hard because they were like a higher level. They were all evolved. It's hard.
Outnumbered.
Outnumbered, just everything's super hard.
I noticed here too. Did we get the evolution of the ugly duckling? Is that
we did, and we should.
We should see them ride.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely get this Howlhuff out because he's one of the best ones to ride once we can evolve him.
There we go.
And save. Yeah.
Always.
But yeah, let's try riding. P-Lenti is this one's name. This one is
Okay.
Did you catch
partially
two of them,
ugly
Erika?
duckling. Yeah, she got 2. This one's partially ugly duckling and partially golden goose. It's got like golden eggs in its peacock feathers in its tail. So now that we have it selected, you just click R and you can ride it. And now we move directly with it. Space is jump.
Ooh!
This one is so this one's like a bit it's not super simple to control. So if you hit space again after jumping, you'll be able to like glide. And it's modeled after the Mario 64 gliding hat. I don't know if you've ever played Mario 64. Okay, so basically if we hit forward,
it's a little bit
tilt.
tough.
Yeah, if we hit forward, we tilt up and lose velocity, but if we hit down, we tilt down and gain velocity.
Oh.
So you could kind of swoop if you get enough like height off your first jump, and you jump from somewhere high. And you could basically fly if you jump from like a high spot.
Yes.
That's cool.
Yeah. So and that's his riding. That's his special riding ability. The big wolf one, that one it just double jumps, but that's still pretty nice in the game with platforming. But with P-Lenti, he's really good at horizontal, so we could get across this gap if we do the glide without having to fight that trainer.
I'm gonna try.
Yeah, for sure.
Is that
Whether I wasn't allowed to or not.
Is that
This is the big
guy
Shrek,
with the
not Shrek, but
right the not Shrek, right?
Yeah.
Exactly. This is
the
the
not
not
Shrek.
Shrek.
It's based
Gotcha.
on the troll under the bridge from Billy Goat's Gruff.
Gotcha.
He's literally got a bridge on his back that he's under, and he's also rideable, but we can't ride that one because he's a dialogue guy.
That's the most relatable gremlin I've seen. We've all got bridges on our back.
Hell yeah, especially when you're a solo dev doing all these things. That's why I made him. He's my developer. Spirit Gremlin, real life analog. All right, this one it will be more fairly matched, but it's also a hard battle, I've been told.
Leave me alone, gingerbread man.
One thing that might help with this battle is probably usually going for the trainer is pretty good here. Having your gremlins go for him, but so far you're kind of winning. You're just like low on health. Okay,
if you knock
it looks
him
like
out.
you beat. Yeah, she beat like all of his gremlins almost. There's like one left. They get back up though, so be careful.
If you knock
me
out
outta
the
here!
trainer, do you win
Yes,
instantly?
that's the goal of each
That's
of
the
the
goal.
fights.
Great. Yeah.
Okay.
that was-
Over here.
Do you have? I'm sorry if I missed this. Do you have any access to any kind of
No.
items or anything like that? Anything like
Yeah.
that mid-fight?
Run! Oh, she's dead.
Oh.
You do not.
Really, get out!
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
So you really,
because
you got to utilize the dodging. You got to utilize.
you could heal if your gremlins had a heal cooldown. Those exist. The green guy does that. But you were actually pretty close there because you did. So you went for like the I'm gonna knock out
Everybody
your
was
gremlin
down.
strategy, and you did beat them all. You were just really low and like distracted. So like sometimes you would stand near a guy and he would just wail on you. Unfortunately. But that was close.
was an unfortunate disaster.
Yeah, I think your gremlins like have the advantage. It's just you gotta
Do it all.
focus the trainer a little more probably. And
Now, Patrick, I noticed in that fight that there were like tiny, I think it was like swords appearing above the heads with like different fractions.
yes,
Is that like type
so
matchups?
it'll be green. It'll say 2 times if it was super
Okay.
effective, and it'll be red and say 1/2 times if it was not very effective.
Okay, so that's your
Yeah,
little
and we
like
have
visual
in this
way to
menu.
show
Oh, never
like the.
mind. If we ever end up in the battle menu again, we can see the type chart there. It lets you like look.
Okay.
And there's actually some status effects going on the battlefield right now. I guess they're over now, but your that one can confuse you, but it missed. Oh man, he's just shooting you down.
Yeah.
I can't hear very well right now.
So, what kind of status effect do you have in this game, Patrick? And how do they affect the player
Reload.
character?
It's a big question. So there's one per type. So there's 14, or there's currently 13.
Wow.
Yeah, I might have to change some. There's some bugs with some and stuff. But yeah, so it's like a hard question to answer. I guess there's a bunch of them. The confused one that did happen during that battle.
I'm not gonna lie. You have a lot more than I thought you were gonna have.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of. I'm a content guy. Like I love just. That's kind of the thing with monster tamers, right? There's a bunch of Pokemon, and you kind of get to feel cool for like which ones you're choosing, right? The player expression of all that content. Like I love that, and so I probably did way too much content in my demo for a demo, and I could have focused more on polish and stuff like that. That kind of just to make everything like look a little more, just a little better and stuff. But I did. I'm a content guy. I wanted to have some good content, so. Yeah, there are a lot of those. The confused one that happened during that battle, for example, like doesn't let you order your Gremlin if they're confused, or her Mon Servant, the starter who's Might type. The Might type one is Bruise, which is like it's simple, just doubles the damage they get dealt, or I think it's 1.5 times. But there's like cool ones. So like the Earth status effect is called Magnetized, and it's like a bunch of like magnetic rocks will float around something that's magnetized, and if your teammates touch those, they take damage. So it kind of like makes you play not close to your teammates because you'll take damage if they get magnetized. That one's one of my favorites. There's a bunch. It's if you're curious about one, I can let you know.
Got you.
Yeah.
So, is there any way other than fighting a bunch of Grimmlins that Erika can get an edge to go and fight that trainer?
This is what I'm doing.
I would say, oh, she's grinding up. I would say that usually the best way to win is you middle click the enemy trainer a lot. At least if you have like decently fast Gremlins and stuff, you middle click the enemy trainer a lot. And then one thing that helps a lot is to cycle through your Gremlins with your scroll wheel and just like hit Q and E. Just like fire off the cooldowns, or hit one at a time. Don't do, if you do both at the same time, you'll cancel one. But just hit like scroll Q, scroll Q, scroll Q. You'll get a lot more damage and value out of your Gremlins. It helps a lot, and it's kind of not too crazy because the game's hard to control. But that's not too bad. And also ranged cooldowns are really good. Yeah, that one goes on you. So like if you click E on your Pilenti, now it'll put a bubble on you that says no damage.
Yay.
Tornado's broken. Does he have Tornado? Wait, go back to Pilenti. That one's really strong. At the bottom there. Yeah, definitely replace probably Gust Crash with that or something because it's really.
And
good.
what are the
Let's go try that.
Are those like stat points at the bottom? I see like all those little arrows.
For the Gremlin or for the? So I'm not sure which.
For the Gremlin, I think on the other screen, away from the move.
This one right
screen.
here. This one. Or this one.
This one.
Oh, I think he's behind.
I'm a little behind. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Not
but
like
on the screen that has
video.
Yeah. On the screen that has like the Gremlin, there's like the list of stats.
Yeah, those are the stats.
And there's
for
like the
Gremlin.
little stat points.
Yeah. Those are the stats for the Gremlin. Most of them are a lot like Pokemon. So you have your attack, health, armor, which is like defense. Resistance is like
Gotcha.
special defense. Magic is special attack. There's also stagger and constitution, which kind of replace crits.
Okay.
But any attack. Oh, go slow mo. Okay. Oh, fuck slow mo. Yeah. Okay, I think he's doing
Rotate through it
tornado.
all.
Yeah, there you go. Okay,
Are
he
you
instantly
turning the
killed
trainer, though?
Servant. Instantly beats Servant because the tornado does a shitload of damage if it hits a wall. It's
Scary.
so tornado's on cooldown, but Bubble's almost back.
Yep.
All right, Bubble's back. There you go. The tornado's back now too.
Honestly, just watching these fights in slow-mo is so entertaining.
Cool. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
definitely cool to look at. Oh, the tornado got canceled, but we have other cooldowns,
This far.
and we are up one Gremlin right now.
Punch him in the knee.
Yeah, we got the Bubble. He's no match for us now.
Trying to get
Oh,
tornado.
there's a tornado. It just goes through enemies and keeps doing damage, and then if it hits the wall, it like explodes and does a ton of damage.
Good arena for that.
Yeah, this is a good small one for it.
Can
And
you
so, like,
accidentally
this-
do any damage to yourself? Do you have to be worried about that?
I have it in the code where you could, but I didn't actually make any of them do that. I guess it's another factor in a complex system I want to try to simplify as much as I can. For now, at least.
Gotcha.
But I think it might be interesting. Oh, he's got a bubble too. Oh, tornado one shot. Tornado one shot. I definitely have to
Wow.
lower that damage.
Hmm.
No, you don't.
That's what I mean. Where when it hits that wall, it does this explosion. It does like 8 times the damage or something.
Oh, did he drop something for you?
Yeah, he did. He
Something on
gave
the-
me a
Oh,
gold.
hey, you
Oh,
dropped
that's-
something for me.
That's one of the books, right?
Yeah, yeah. Whenever we beat a trainer, we get a golden book, and they're also just scattered around the map. In the earlier dialogue that we, oh, this is weird. This is a bug. Oh, no, it ended up working. It's fine. In an earlier dialogue, when we were inside the building, they said that like we have books checked out under our name, these golden books, and we didn't do it. Someone did it, and so you have to collect them for the library because they're checked out under your name.
Like sushi.
Yeah, they do look like sushi, like nigiri.
And what are
Those
these ones?
so you remember the
based
big
off?
slug?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so you remember the big slug? So these are still the old lady who lived in the shoe, but
Gotcha.
there's like one of the big slugs who it evolves into.
Gotcha.
And this is a good spot to see something. So can you go towards the big slug? And turn the camera a little bit. So that one is a yellow. That one's yellow, right? Do we see that?
Yeah.
That one is what we call a step form, which is like it's like shinies in Pokemon for anyone who knows. But
I
step
love
forms in Grimmlins Tale
shinies.
have like a different. They have a different typing in Grimmlins Tale and a different move pool to go with that typing. So like normally this one's Blight type, but that yellow one's Electric type.
I get
And
it.
That
sometimes
is
they'll have
very
like a crazy
cool.
texture, like yeah, like I wanted
love
to like
that.
I wanted to reward shinies for sure.
Yeah.
There's no competitive mode, so there's none of that crazy like oh I have to grind for the shiny to be
Right.
competitive. But also I could always implement some items that turn your thing into a step form or something in the post game if I wanted. There's a lot of solutions to things like that that I might end up doing, but
Gotcha.
yeah, I wanted some extra reward, and I had some good ideas for reskins sort of in that way, and I just think they're a lot more special players feel like when they have something mechanical going on.
Mhm.
Yeah, that feels like a really good way to reward that. Actually, that's
Yeah, so
really clever.
I've had a lot of people be like, oh, just they play the demo for like 2 hours, just trying to get as like starter shinies because they're super rare. So
Yeah.
like those ones actually take a good hour or two to find. But I
So-
did make the chance lower. It's not as rare as Pokemon.
Yeah, I was gonna ask because I know in Pokemon right now it's like 1 in 4,096 or something like that.
Yeah, and it used to be 8,000 or.
Yeah,
Whatever.
exactly. It used to be twice that. Yeah. So if you want to share, if not, I understand. Do you have like what is the actual rarity of one of these?
I do keep that secret actually. That's like one of the only things I
Okay.
keep. I like accidentally tell too much usually, but that is one thing I have been keeping secret. I do say that it's less rare than shinies in Pokemon, but
Okay.
I don't. If I keep it secret, then it'll always feel more special. You know.
Good
No,
plan.
100%. That's the secret sauce right there.
hmm
Yeah.
Did you say that they're called step forms?
Yeah, it's like
You're not my
evil
real
stepsister.
form.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. It's kind of like referencing evil stepsisters. And,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Cinderella and stuff. And we are finding a golden book, adventuring.
I thought Erika was doing her best Titanic impression.
Do that.
I'll be screaming.
This is gonna be a challenge to get back up.
I was just about to say, I did not think this through.
That's all right. You should
If
be
you-
able to do it with enough work with just the player. Probably.
Climb.
Yeah, you
If
can climb
you were
up
to
these
dive
rocks and
into
stuff.
the water, ooh,
It always does this. It like
That's
kind
rough.
of brings you back to your last spot. But we're gonna
Panic
this.
with me.
got you. So if there's no way to like cheese it by jumping into the water and going back to the top.
Well, there is, but it depends on like the system is different right now in my current build. But in this build, it'll record. It's not random, but it's sort of timed and stuff like where your last valid spot was. And I could tell that she got sent back to the boat, so
Gotcha.
the boat was its last valid spot.
It's like the spot.
Yeah. It's based on something called a nav mesh, which is like how games figure out complex pathfinding for AI. And so there's nav mesh. It's a mesh that it figures out where it can go on. We're in the ground. And yeah, it'll
Meow.
record a nav mesh position. Usually the best way is like sort of to the right
Right?
a little bit. Yeah, that way just a little bit. You can climb.
Jump dodge.
Alright,
As soon as we get up here.
Thank you, voice from the abyss.
good. Alright, you got this. You got this. There we go.
Are we, Patrick? Are we kind of hitting any kind of crescendo here? Is there anything that we can maybe see before we call it a day, or what are we?
There is like a cool spot we could go towards. When would you guys like to end? Maybe like soon.
We usually call it
um,
an hour, but no rush.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think it might be fun to see the mountain area just a little. Not we don't have to do it too much, but the way we get there is like back where we came to this area initially, where the library is. You can climb on top of the library, go across a
Yeah.
big sword, like a bridge, and there's this whole big mountain area over there that we can look at real quick and maybe mess around for 5 minutes and then be done.
Come back.
Ride that peacock.
If you middle click yourself, middle click your character, it'll make them all follow
Okay.
you instead of like being bloodthirsty and going after wild gremlins.
You want
Yeah,
that
this will work.
sushi?
Exactly.
Okay, so go back to the library.
Yeah, and if you want to use the ability, remember it's you hit space to jump, and then you hit space again once you're in the air, and you'll be in glide mode. Right, and because you're
Woo!
holding W, you go forward, you go up, but lose velocity. But
Climb
yeah,
that tree.
Yeah, probably getting
Oh
up
wow,
this.
you're getting the hang of it now.
Yeah, Pilenti's kind of bad at getting up the library because he's not a very vertical gremlin. Some other ones are better for this. It's probably going to be easier to get up with the trainer. alone and climbing and stuff. There we go. Oh, he got caught.
Come on.
Usually you have to go to the roof, but I'm sure you can do it. Hold on. So get off that little snag.
We are in
Ow.
Erika's hands.
Oh
so
my god.
No pressure.
Oh man, oh man, oh man.
Come on.
Oh shoot, you probably have to go up to that little roof of the building part.
Oh, on the roof.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
That's not where I wanted to go.
Oh no. we hit the collider to go back inside. It's alright. It's pretty easy to go through the walls right now. It should be harder in my current build, but something I gotta manually place a lot of stuff for. Yeah, this will be good. Oh. Oh no. Oh. There we go.
Hey!
Okay.
Good shit.
She slid up to the top. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, that's the area over there in the distance that we're trying to get to. It's like this big
Now we
mountainy
fly
area.
over there? Or do we
Yeah.
keep climbing?
I would keep going up. So I'd go up on this like mushroom on the side of the stump. There you go.
So while
puzzles in the air
we're
now.
navigating here, Patrick, I've got a question because it seems like
If it's too hard, it's
That's
okay.
rough.
We don't have
No!
to.
Do it!
Sorry, what were you gonna
gamer.
ask?
oh man.
What were you
Oh,
gonna ask,
I was
Tyler?
I was just curious because I saw off in the background with we're kind of where Erika was earlier with the maze. It
Yeah.
looked like kind of like a beanstalk, I want to say, like Jack and Beanstalk. So I'm just curious, like, are all your locations also kind of like Grimm's fairy tale themed as well?
I sort of wanted to fit them around my gremlins. So like I know most of the roster, and I was like, oh, do I have like I intentionally didn't want to have like fish gremlins that could only really exist in like a water spot because I want everything to be able to be on the ground and everything.
Gotcha.
And stuff like that. And so I based it off of like what gremlins I have and what kind of areas I would need to fit into
Gotcha.
that way. But I would like to have some locations that sort of like set the tone for some of these gremlins. Like, I don't know, like a cottage for Little Red Riding Hood, stuff like that, for sure.
Gotcha. I was just wondering because some of these locations are so unique. Like the sword bridge is
Yeah.
a really unique idea.
Yeah, that'd be fun to just kind of feel tiny on a giant sword.
Is that fall
Yeah.
damage?
No fall damage.
Okay.
And we have like a cauldron here in case we die or anything like that.
Just in case you never know.
Yeah, to our not fall damage. But yeah, there's some cool gremlins at the bottom. Like the pig mechs sometimes spawn there, like I was talking about before. This guy's one of the other
I'm
starter
moving.
evolutions. Yeah.
Oh,
being
he's like the Flash.
Yeah, he is very Flash inspired. He's electric type and he's like super fast and stuff. He's kind of the speed starter.
I ate his hand. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's too good, too tasty.
I love his dialogue.
Who's the Ginger Snaps, the superhero one?
Yeah. He's just kind of got the amalgamation of the
Oh my
brooding
gosh.
superhero archetype.
Sure.
This is terrifying.
This is Lamball.
Sorry.
You're good. It's based on Mary Had a Little Lamb and her fleece is white as snow. And it's just I just kind of
Snow.
ran with that.
I
and
love that.
It's a giant
so
snowman
creative.
snowball. This one's the best one to ride, but we probably won't be able to get there just because it's at like the top of the mountain. But when you ride it, you like free roll like as a ball, and it's awesome. It's really fun.
You can see that one in the trailer, right? For the folks at home.
Yeah, that one's in the trailer. There's a bunch.
Yikes.
There's a bunch in the trailer. Yeah, that one's in
Yeah.
there. And I made a
Um,
post with it recently
Well,
and stuff.
also for the folks at home,
Go ahead.
the demo that Erika's playing right now is on Steam.
Yep.
So if this looks fun to you, you could go give it a try right
Free on
now.
Steam.
So
Yeah. Should be a good, at least hour of content.
Yes.
Hour or two.
a part of what we go for here with our show here, Indie Insights, is that we want to try to offer advice to folks that maybe are just looking into game development on their own. If you could give any advice to either your past self or just anyone maybe looking to tinker around at home, anything that you'd like to spread to the people out there.
Yeah, if you want to be a solo dev like this, definitely one of the main things I always tell everyone is like, I didn't do this, but keep it small. Try to keep your scope down as much as you can because, kind of like I described before, sometimes people they don't understand what you have, how much firepower you're working with, and people, you give them an inch and they'll take a mile, and it's okay. You love them, they're your customers, but it's just you do have to keep yourself at bay in that sort of way, and definitely just plan to know like what you need to make something fun, and try to work it in a way where it doesn't need to be scaled up to be fun. Like my game is a bad example of this because I feel like you need all those cool writing abilities and all the gremlins and stuff like that for it to be fun. It needs that variety and that huge amount of content. But if you can make something that doesn't need a ton of content and just like make someone laugh when they see it, or is appealing in any sort of way, that won't take you that long, hopefully, and can be just as successful as anything else. So
That's
that'd be
great.
my advice. Keep it small.
Yeah.
Keep it still really appealing though, if you can, with that.
Functional.
Yeah.
Well, it's working.
Yeah. Well, let's land this plane here, Erika. Let's hear you got to play this during this time. What's your experience? What are your thoughts?
Chaotically fun.
Okay. That's
I
the intention.
Yeah, I like it, especially it's like you were talking about earlier, the having the variety and different like gremlins you can ride and different things that they can do, and that the sheep is like a ton of fun. Makes me want to go and get that and experience that and all of the different variety that they all have in their different, like testing out their different abilities, see which one I like, and then being able to just spam Q and E and pause is great.
Yeah. That's the strategy part, I
I'm
guess.
enjoying it
Except
a
not.
lot.
But yeah, that's great. I'm glad.
Yeah,
Those are some of the key points I definitely want people to experience.
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love it.
Tyler, any closing thoughts?
I think that what you have here is definitely something that's super accessible because, like we talked about a little bit already, there is that surface level gameplay, like what Erika was just touching on with the Q&E and the pause and all that. But you've got so much going on with like the different moves and all that, and it really does remind me of Pokemon with how there's a whole other level of depth to it, and I think that's really important. I
Thank
think
you.
that's really cool.
I definitely want that to be a thing. That's another one of the things, that skill ceiling and floor, right? It's a big deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to echo those thoughts as well. I think that there is just like a lot of great groundwork here, and I'm excited to see, given more time, what you're able to do. I think you're headed in such a cool direction, and I hope that the people out there see you and get to see your game and hear from you, and and respect that this is a solo project, and give you the love that it clearly deserves. There's obviously a lot of thought and care that go into this project, and I hope you get to see some benefit of that. So I think that
Thank you.
this is so cool.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. And so if you agree with Patrick here, then maybe give the Kickstarter some love. Maybe just try out the game. Either way, join the Discord, follow me on Twitter, and all of it. I appreciate it. And it all goes a long way. or even just
What
share it.
is
All of
what
it's
is
great.
your Twitter so we can
Yeah, any other
give
plugs?
it a follow?
At Grimmlins Game is the Twitter. We're still growing, almost at 2,000 followers. And Steam and Kickstarter you could probably just find by googling the game Grimmlins Tale. That's probably the best way. Everything else
Perfect.
I can't really. There is a website, www.grimmlins.com. That one's pretty easy too. It's a little dated, but it has some of the other links, Discord and whatnot.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. Well, give Patrick a follow on Twitter, Grimmlins Game. Do you also have one for Big Rat Games, or is that just like really the focus, the Grimmlins Game account?
I don't have an account for the Big Rat Games. It's a very new LLC.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
fantastic. Thank you so much. Thank you for giving us an insight into your game. Insight. We obviously want to play your game. If you're a developer out there, for anybody else working on a game, a mod, anything in between, let us know and keep making these incredible indie games. Thank you so much, Patrick. We appreciate you. Thank you, Tyler. Thank you, Erika. Thank you, Dan on the sticks. Thank you, everybody that's in the YouTube chat watching now, watching on demand in the future. Love you. Bye.
Thank you.